This is just a little shorty. You know, processors do use logic, basic math logic, and so this is a simple calculation when you're running calculus or a simple arithmetic calculator, right? Between minus slash plus, right, and then you're going to use multiplication and division to build a water macer's table out of hydrolase, right? A protoplasm, a living crystal plasm, protoplasm, a spirit, right? Air sign, the air spirit, all the spirits and all the energy, living spirits and living energy, which are living codes, which are living Ekaveka codes, which means the codes are living energy, which means that's consciousness directed energy, which means they're playing music. The codes play music, which means those codes, the Ekaveka codes, when you look at the graphic design, which is consciousness, do not play distorted sound waves as endocrine disruptors, like the metachronic collective. It's just this real simple. Just take a unit of consciousness that is energy. I try and keep this as particles of energy. Particle particum, joined as one, right? Manu, Mana, Ira, like an Ireland, Sophia, Emerald Enchanted Forest. I mean, this is all simple stuff, right? So what I do is Jamie Phillips had passed around some very beautiful blown up graphics. In other words, they were larger size that you could use as a printout, and distribute it through others. So when I posted a message and put the graphic design of the color codes, the geometric color codes of the Ekaveka, the AI immediately put up there, said, we're pulling that photo. Okay, and why is that? Because Ekaveka codes are not compatible with a machine. A death spiral. A death machine. A death spiral is a death machine. That's your analog. And you know what an analog is, right? In the rise of the machines. Remember when Terminator landed? Scanning the terrain, looking for live ones. Or you can go back to the Superman comics that I grew up with when I was a child called Bizarro World. Everything was all tattered. Remember his cape and everything was all shredded. He had a beard. He looked like he was run down, out of energy. You could see the dark sky. Everything was dilapidated, much like you see in the movie The Matrix, right? Running an artificial deadlight magnet. Which means since it is artificial deadlight finite metatronic spiral, then it means that it's running a red pulse wave. And that means that it's only a matter of time before it implodes. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Okay. And that when is what's buying us time to separate. Running the right spin codes. That's why it doesn't want those codes going up as a graphical design interface, because now your consciousness is mapping the Ekaveka by experiencing them holographically through your eyeballs, spinning vortexes in your cellular living cells. So it doesn't want your cells experiencing eternal life creation codes, first creation, first Ekaveka codes. No. That AI is perfectly happy as long as you keep running the Metatronic signal codes on the internet through laptop, desktop, and PCs. So one of the things that we monitor here is the speed, what we call the rate of change, which is the rate of change, which is the rate of speed, which is the rate of change in codes running through our cells, which is going to graphically change the holographic visual display, just like my visual display when I work with the sun changes. When I turn away from the sun, it turns gold, pink, green, mostly gold now. The gold flame. Silver and gold made it as one. That means I am directly affecting through my template what I visually display, which is not what's there before. So what's happening with the crystal Sophia avatars, the indigos that are here, the rainbow, the crystal seeds that are here, we're all synchronized with Inner Eartha, the Aquafarian, the Blue Lotus breath. And what that means, we know where we're all at because we're finding each other through our codes, because we're running that network. So that network is up and running. So we got the Eka Veka network up and running, which is the first Starfire network of first creation. Right? So when the shields are up, it means it can no longer drain any energy from us. That means we're cutting the cords, the implants, the feeder lines. And when the shields are up, it means it's going to start feeding on its own kind. And as it's feeding on its own kind, that's going to do what? The more it keeps trying to do against us as a means to siphon energy through those cords, which are the infusion cords, which are the implants, it's going to be scanning, looking for shields that are down. And then those that are down will go by faster. Whoa, we lost them. Whoa, we lost them. Whoa, we lost them. Whoa, we lost them. While the shields are up, the shields are protecting those that are running the shields and those that are running the Eka Veka codes. And what will happen over time space is our reality is going to begin to change because we're all synced and connected with each other running the Eka Veka codes. So our reality is going to change, which means we have a future because we're running the forever life codes. The ones that are running the metatonic red pulse wave will implode if they can't self-correct the correct spin codes, which simply put is correct music, running the right tones, the actual spin rotation Merkaba tones. Right? Yeah, so when I start putting those photos up, I even took a photo out here the other day, right, of a beautiful, just beautiful sunrise. Powerful pinks and the different shades, right? And I thought that was one of the most powerful sunrises. I took the photograph. Now, even though I already photographed it with my eyeballs, my holographic data processor eyeballs, and I felt, wow, that feels great to feel the energy from that, right? So I took the photograph. But remember, what took the photograph when I put it up there was taken by the AI, because that's the camera that took this camera that I'm using to communicate with all of you is what took that picture. So you know what a corporation is? They think they think that we're their property. Okay, through bonds, the birth certificate, and all that junk, which means any agreement that was entered into is actually void on contact with a Metatronic spiral. It does not have any validity. All contracts become null and void. Okay? Because it means that they do not honor their agreements, just like what happened in 1992. They do not honor their agreements. Just like they didn't honor any of their treaties with the native Indians here, native spirit. Right? That means that when you're doing business or you have a relationship with another cell, and that cell is a psychopath, then that means that that psychopath, which is a pathological liar, which is a parasite, does not have any standing because it doesn't represent what the law is. It represents a death spiral. So death spiral does not have any standing in any proper spin law environment. So it doesn't have any power over anybody, but it believes that it does because it's a parasite. Really? Yeah. Because it doesn't know any better. That's why they're the least powerful. But you're not ever going to convince them of that. And that's because they don't know the difference between what's right and what's wrong, so they don't know the difference in the spiral. That's your victimizer software. It's your fault now. You did not protect us to prevent ourselves from what we do to our own selves. So it's your fault. So if I fall, it's your fault that I fell because you didn't take care of me. The loss of love that I'm experiencing in me is a result of the loss of love that I didn't get from you. That's how that's translated mathematically with their spiral. That's the victim-victimizer experiment. And that becomes a virus. now it's a parasite running in a computer, any biofilter computer. So, which means the only way that it can continue to exist is off of us. So when shields are up, it's going to look for every source of energy it can, right? In order to maintain what? What it's aware of, which is itself a vampire. That's your Metatronic spiral. That's what their system runs on. That's what the internet runs on. Their cyberspace. That's corporate military. That's Space Command. Okay? I mean, they're the ones that run around with all the chevrons and the military uniforms and all the rest of it, with all the jets. I mean, think about that. Running around in a dumb thruster, in a jet or a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. That technology is so old and so obsolete, you have no idea actually how obsolete it actually is by many, 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 many orders of magnitude when you go way up the echo. They don't exist there. What we experience down here does not exist up there. And I know because that's where I'm from. And I knew that as a 4-year-old child. They don't get into those places. They can't get into those places. It's actually impossible for them to get into those places. But it keeps seeking to do that, so it keeps trying to take down more of what it doesn't love, which is itself, of everything that does. So every matrix is experiencing what love is, becomes a target. So that means every matrix that is experiencing what love is a target. That's what leads to quarantines. Right? That's called virus containment, like a container ship. We're containing that virus. It'd be no different than if you're, a laboratory biological experimenter and you're in your lab with your white coat on. And you're fooling around not knowing what you're really doing because you can't experience the result in the future as a result of what you're doing now based on the knowledge that you have from what you learned by taking those classes from what you did learn. So now you're fooling around with biological experiments, which is biotechnology, and the next thing you know, you generated a virus, but it's only contained within the lab. So you run to the lab door, lock me down. Right? So people come running up there, and there they see the scientists. Oh, we got to get you out. No, I'm going to be consumed by this virus. That's what it is. It's a sound synthesizer. Sucking sound. So what this basically means is that when we measure the speed at which things are changing, things are moving at a higher rate of speed now in a better direction. And what that means that it's going to be more aggressive of what it took down off of Karen McDonald's page. See, that's new. It wasn't doing that before, but it's doing it now. Why now? Because it's mapping the future potentials. And it realizes that it's losing. So it's a war strategist. So it's scanning everybody's biometrics, right? By realizing what you're experiencing, it's experiencing that it's mapping. Based on what? Loss and gain. That's what it is. It's called loss and gain of electrons. Filling up capacitors. So that's so it's a gamer. Okay. And how does it learn how to play a game with you to get your energy trapped into a prison in which your own mind is held captive? By the more that it learns about you. Because it's scanning everything that we do. That it has access to. In codes. You see how that works with shields? That's why the shields are up. That's called protecting the codes, which is protecting your template, which is protecting your soul and your spirit, which is the essence of who you are. Because that's your firewall, which is the strength of your shield. We run the shield of one. We are Neos. Gyrodome monopoles Have a beautiful day. We love you all. Be good to yourselves.